Welcome to the next episode of the Bald Avenger Show. I am Jason Sisneros, also known as the Bald Avenger, the purveyor of all things common sense, the tattooed guru, and the king of the Misfit Nation, and a legend, baby, in my own mind. Sherry, I say that I'm a legend in my own mind because I don't want anybody to think that I'm arrogant or confident in myself.
Oh no, we wouldn't want that.
We wouldn't want that.
We don't want to mislead your audience.
We don't want that rumor getting out there. So good evening, everybody. Tonight I'm drinking a little bit of tonic. This is wild tonic, blueberry, basil. It's got a little quinine in it. You guys go ahead and do your own research on why the quinine and a little bit of zinc helps you during this period of time. Also, I'm going to reveal for a bunch of you, I've got it here in my pocket if I can get it out. But what we're going to be talking about tomorrow night, those of you know that I put together one of the greatest doctors I could find and one of the greatest scientists I could find. And we wanted to develop one of the most powerful immunity optimizers that we can possibly do. It's a mixture of silver and gold colloidal, both of them. Here it is. That's the world. That is the world renowned. It's making its debut. It's called Tommy Gun. And when I decided that I was going to get into the supplement game, I decided, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to name it OG for the original gangster, baby. And then we're going to, all of the products that we ever produce, they're going to have gangster names. And this one's called Tommy Gun. Okay. And you can't see it, but it has pinstripes like the old gangster suits on it.
Nice.
Right? So cool. So cool. And I've been, by the way, using it for a couple weeks and it's phenomenal, but we finally got it packaged up. We got everything done. We're ready to ship tomorrow. We'll be launching that website. We're going to be talking a lot about that tomorrow night. But I want to, tonight's show is, it's kind of special to me because what is happening right now is kind of what I've been saying along the way. Emily, I've been making predictions, right, Emily? Like, and I say them to you because I'm like, at some point in time, somebody's going to have to say, Jason, because I go back on Facebook and I say most of what I say to you, not all of it, but some of it. And one of the things that I said early, where you actually questioned me, you're like, Jason, should I actually do that? Is that actually what's going to happen? And you haven't questioned me because I've been right along almost every step of the way, right? Almost every step of the way. And so one of my predictions was that we were going, I'm a little off on the dates, but I said that sometime between the 7th and the 10th, that we're going to start seeing the opening of the, not big, like not, okay, everybody go back to work, but we were going to start seeing an opening of getting people back to work. Okay. And I think that the first signal of that was today, the CDC put out, literally this happened. I haven't even told you this, Em, is that the CDC just said that essential workers, even if they've been exposed to the virus, can now go back to work. And it said on their site, in an effort to begin to open the country and get people back to work. It's, what is today?
The 8th.
The 8th. Is that between the 7th and the 10th?
It is.
Hallelujah.
Spot on.
Hallelujah. Okay. It's a little piece. But I'm still a little bit right. So, but what that means is it's the beginning of us firing back up the economy. Okay. There's been a lot of damage. There's been a lot of jobs lost. There's been, predictable things. I mean, I don't, it's going to look like a disaster on Friday, I think, when the jobs numbers comes out and, that kind of stuff. But I've always said, look, from the very beginning of this, I said, as it was beginning, make sure that you're preparing for when it ends, right? And before this, you guys, I mean, especially you, Emily, that I tell people, get ready for a downturn. Make sure you have a year's worth of cash. make sure you have some food, make sure you have some water, make sure you have some things in the store, and then in your business, make sure you have a year's worth of operating capital in case that there's a downturn. Now, when the downturn happened, I said, look, here's what you need to do. You need to be preparing, whatever it is, you need to be preparing for the other side of this. Now, I speak primarily, or a lot, I speak to business owners or executives, and I speak to a lot of people that just have, that have jobs and they're employed. And I'm constantly saying, always prepare yourself, read, execute, improve yourself. Do not, and here's been my message that I've been getting hammered on, which I never in a million years thought that I would get hammered for telling people, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. And what that said to a whole bunch of fear mongers out there was that I wasn't taking it seriously. Right. And along those lines, I've never said, don't follow the CDC. I've never said, don't follow your state and local suggestions. Keep up to date on that. But don't follow those people who are trading in and capitalizing and profiting from your fear. That has been my message the entire time. And I was surprised in the beginning at the backlash that I got. Jason, you're a leader. You're supposed to tell people to stay home. They don't need me to tell them that, because everybody in the world is telling them all of that other stuff. What I'm saying is, as a leader, if you're following me, there's only two types of people in this world: the people that love me and the people that hate me. And I'm okay with both of those. And if you're following this, then you're following me because you're getting leadership guidance. You're not getting somebody who's going to go, oh, poor baby, I feel bad for you. No, I know that you're a leader. I know that you've gone through tragedy. I know that you've gone through tough times. I know you've had to lift yourself up by the bootstraps. I know that you've been through tumultuous times when nobody was looking and there was nobody there for you, right? And now everybody just happens to be having this occurrence together where we're all going, oh, everybody might be stressed about feeding their family. Oh, Sherry might be locked in her house in New York, right? Oh, people might be lonely. Oh, people get sick from the flu. Oh, we should protect our elderly. Oh, we should pay attention to our health. You know what I mean? Like, most of us have gone through our tragedies, for the most part, by ourselves. And so the message is that I have just been saying over and over and over again is, don't be filled with fear. Protect yourself, protect your family, do the right things, but also don't listen to those people who are telling you to be afraid, right? Don't follow the headlines of, this is how this kills you. You know what I mean? There's no like videos on how to get hit by a bus. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't need to know. You need to know, here's how you protect yourself from that thing, not what happens if it gets inside of you. And then, and all of the worst case scenarios does nothing but do damage to your ability to operate and to your immune system, the very thing that should be held at its highest, in its highest level, right? Cole Whitty's on here, and her and Todd did that show with them, right? About keeping your immune system boosted into the highest degree, which I do pretty much all of my life anyway, right? And so anyway, so that leads into the fact that today on the 8th, the CDC opened up a little bit of our economy. When I said between the 7th and the 10th, okay? Now, how much more we open up, when we open up, it's looking like that Easter weekend is going to be, there's going to be some announcements about maybe targeted geographic type openings, and certainly by the end of the month, I don't think anybody's going to stay home. I think there's going to be a revolt anyway, when the numbers have been consistently wrong about what's going on. But I say all of that, I'm setting a little bit of a table here for the two ladies that you see staring back at me, which highly improved the good looks on this right? At the same time, it's now quadrupled. So, but in preparation for what's going to happen, if you have kept your brain about you, if you've kept your mind about you, one of the things that you are seeing is, like, I saw a couple of figures today that $98 billion has gone in and gone out to small business owners, to paycheck protection, to, to making sure that we get money into the hands of the people that we forced to stay home over this last, since we decided to shut down the country. Now, there's an 800, how many pages is the stimulus bill?
About 880.
About 880, roughly,
Give or take 20.
So there's 880 pages of the stimulus bill. Now, you're going to get told the bigger chunks, and we're going to talk about all of that tonight. But in that 880 pages, there's a lot of stuff that you're going to want to know and that you may miss out on if you're not paying attention. And the two ladies that you see in front of me right now, Emily is the CEO and the founder of tetragrowthsystems.com. That's how you get a hold of them. If you want to email them tonight or get more information about your company or you as an individual or how you can participate in the stimulus bill, you're going to want to reach out to them because they've been digging through that 880 page document and finding every opportunity for every kind of scenario for you to be able to get your hands on some of that money because of the disruption of the management of this crisis. Okay. And so info at tetragrowthsystems.com. We'll put the connections and all that kind of stuff in there. But and Sherry Tarr, who has a tremendous background in this very thing from 2008 and 2009. So Emily, give us the highlight, and then I want to hear what you guys are thinking, both of you. And Emily, I'll just go ahead and start it off with you.
The highlight of the bill or the status?
So let me frame it this way. People that are watching this tonight are going to watch it on replay. They're running there. So they've got a business that they're like, it's teetering. They're like, I may have to fire people. Do I have to fire people? Am I going to get the money? When will I get the money? Will it come in fast enough? And the last thing that I know that I, as a business owner with employees, the last thing that I have time for right now is to dig through an 880 page document and think in the back of my head that my local bank really wants me to get as much money as possible. Right. Like they're going to watch my back. So what you guys are really doing and what you saw early was this need for people that are busy. They're trying to figure out how to navigate this with their business. They're probably navigating stressful home scenarios. They're probably locked up where they can't work out or get, And so what you guys are doing is you're saying, look, we're going to do that work for you. Right?
Exactly. Sherry and I, we sat down and we saw a big need in the market. When we both have our respective businesses, we come together on a lot of ventures for things because Sherry has a tremendous background, litigation, big pharma, you name it. Both of us have legal backgrounds, so we love reading regulations anyway.
Two attorneys. I forgot about that.
I don't know if I love reading regulations, but somebody's got to do it.
Somebody's got to do it.
Because it's like you're trying to solve a puzzle that's very confusing, right? But really at the end of the day, what happened was we saw a big need in the marketplace. We saw companies that were struggling. We saw first responders in a lot of their own capacities helping. And we thought, what strengths do we bring? And how can we be first responders in our own way? And so really what it came down to was us stepping into the business roles that we carry, and we're business women. And so
both of your businesses, just so everybody knows, both of your businesses are, and the business that you guys come together on is very intricate, detailed, legal work. It's not, like me. I mean, I have a team of people, so they worry about all the stuff. You guys are the ones that dive in on not even on the stim bill, on your regular businesses. You are very detail oriented, very law focused, and those kind of things that drive business owners like me, to be frankly honest with you, drives us crazy. And I'll just be like, it's not worth the $100,000 that I get.
Right. And we're not lawyers. We don't own law firms, but we have legal acumen, and we also have a compliance background. So together with our business ownership minds, we thought, okay, let's be the first responders for businesses who are facing a tumultuous, uncertain future.
The
Yes.
first responders for businesses.
Right.
Woo!
Yes.
I
That's
like that.
really, I think, and we both were just like in our hearts, we were like, this is where we feel we can best serve people. And
Indeed.
it's right down to the business owners who just had to lay off 60 employees and are hurting in their hearts because this has been their baby for decades and they had to let go of people. I know that feeling. Sherry knows that feeling. We have people working for us. And when I would have to face a situation like that, that would break my heart. So imagine hundreds of thousands of people facing that uncertainty, and it's heartbreaking.
Wayne Allen Root told a story yesterday of a guy that he knows in Vegas that had 45 employees. He was servicing, these casinos that just shut down overnight. And he had him there and he was bawling one night. The next night he tried to commit suicide. And the third day he was dead. And it was because I get goosebumps because I've been screaming at the top of my lungs that yes, this is a something, but the economic ramifications and the increases in suicide and then the domestic violence occurrences and all of that from an upset, tumbling, crumbling, shutdown economy are going to far outweigh any deaths that we would see here.
1000%. And Sherry, I know you've got a great point coming. But that's exactly it. On a good day, it's hard to be an entrepreneur.
Amen.
It's hard to be a business owner on a good day. So you're that uncertainty and just this, I envision, and Sherry and I were talking about this last night, you're in this ocean and these waves are just soaring over your head. You have no idea. And we want to be the people who are throwing a life preserver to you and saying, come on, we know how to get you to shore. And that's really how this all started. Then Sherry, I'll let you chime in there.
No, absolutely. And by the way, just Jason, thanks so much for the opportunity to join you. And now that I see myself on a screen next to you and with Emily, I really feel like I've arrived. So
you've arrived.
I've arrived.
We'll throw you a little party. I wish I had some confetti.
I appreciate that. Listen, and here's the thing, especially since I am coming to you from Brooklyn, New York. So it is nice to be seen. It's nice to join all of you. It's nice to be healthy. And, because I'm in New York, a lot of what's happening now was happening sooner here. And as soon as this started happening with lockdowns, with people not being able to go to work, to be honest with you, my first thought was not fear. My first thought was, this is our World War II moment. I need to lean into this. Who are the smartest, most resourceful, most industrious, most positive thinking people I know that I can reach out to and say, listen, what tools and assets can we leverage right now? And to be honest with you, I thought, well, I can't sew. I would make masks if I could. I would tear up my curtains and my fabrics here if I knew the first thing about sewing. And then I thought, okay, I have a somewhat of a healthcare background, which I'll share with you in a second. And I thought, what can I do to respond to this in a meaningful way? How can I emerge as somebody leaning into this and being helpful at a tumultuous, unprecedented, frankly, capsizing moment like this for our economy and especially for small businesses and workers. So I called Emily and I said, you are the most resourceful. We are successful together. We've got combined assets that are just so extraordinarily helpful for businesses. What can we do? And here we are. And we thought, listen, we'll be first responders in this sense to businesses. The heroes right now that are working on the front line in the healthcare system, shout out to them. Thank you so much. If I were a doctor, I'd be an ER doctor. That's my mentality. And I actually, the more that was happening, the more hysteria, the more bad news there was, the more confusion, the more tumult, the more that things were becoming overwhelming, I was becoming calmer. And I was processing and thinking, what can we do to emerge here? And I just,
because Jason, I put a post up, Sherry, not too long ago that I said, entrepreneurs in this country are going to be the ones that are going to rebuild this country after the healthcare workers save it.
Indeed. And you said something, I want to pick up on this theme of navigating. So I think of this as literally there are millions of boats. If you think of businesses and we're talking sole proprietors, independent contractors, small businesses, which by the way, small businesses now is defined by a much larger criteria than typically. So imagine millions of those proprietors of services and products, all their boats in the water completely capsized. And by the way, they've got family members on those boats. They've got employees and coworkers on those boats. And so we wanted to position ourselves as somewhat of a port in that storm, and to get those ships uprighted. So we're in a survival mode now, but then, we're going to take it to that next level. So it's not only survival, it's now thrive as well. So we're gonna get these boats back up and running, and then we want to be a part of helping them to thrive and get back.
That. Talk a little bit about the similarities, because you talk a little bit about your role back in 2008, 2009, and where the similarities are where we're at now, and the things that are dissimilar, frankly, with getting money directly in the hands of the people that need it.
Yeah, there's actually a couple of dates that I can relate to that are similar just from my background. So a couple decades, give or take a couple decades, I've been involved. Y'all can do the math later. What's a decade or two? I actually started my career in the pharmaceutical industry in sales and marketing capacities. Went to law school and then spent well over a decade in the courtroom dealing with commercialization and compliance issues related to how pharmaceutical companies were marketing and manufacturing their products. And then I opened my own consulting practice, and I've spent, again, quite a bit of time working with small businesses, entrepreneurs in the life sciences space. So heavily regulated, very complex, and helping to get their products on the market in a safe way, and serving the industry serving the market that they intended. So again, back to a point you made, a lot of complexity in that. I've been dealing with FDA regulated products essentially my whole life. I feel like since I was 5. So a lot of complexities around that. But to your point, inside of that time that I was dealing with the pharmaceutical industry, Katrina happened. Before Katrina, there was 9/11 before Katrina. Yep. And in both of those times, there was extraordinary catastrophe, right? The loss of life, not the least of which, but then the impact on the economies, particularly small businesses, and then people who you wouldn't even expect, whose lives would be completely turned upside down. But what comes out of those two extraordinary events are these stimulus bills or responses to those kinds of catastrophic events. So I had some involvement in the rollout of the stimulus for the Katrina sufferers, right? The people who lost their businesses. I wasn't directly involved in the actual, I wasn't there in New Orleans, but I was associated and affiliated with firms that were helping to access resources to get these businesses and these people back on their feet. And just as a point of reference about the 9/11, I was talking to Emily about this, and I think it's some. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say I think that there's potentially some similarities with what's happening with the current stimulus bill. Even though 9/11, it was a one-time event, the ramifications and the implications are long-term and widespread. In as much as that has continued to be funded, and appropriately so, in my opinion, my humble opinion, for what it's worth. We all got to have an opinion, not all of them count. But in my opinion, the fact that it continued to get funded and they continue to expand the criteria for what cancers would be included in that. We're 20 years out at this point. Yep. And rightfully so. That's a fund that continues to exist, and people can continue to apply for the benefits under that. Similarly, and Emily and I have talked about this, I think this is unprecedented, what's happened here with the current situation. And this bill, it's no secret. I mean, it's already in the news. There's going to be multiple iterations of this. So not only do I think that there's going to be opportunities to right many of the millions of ships that are currently capsized and help these businesses as first responders navigate this really, really overwhelming, anxiety-ridden time. But then along the way, there'll be continued opportunities that we can help companies access to help rebuild and keep those employees on the payroll. And maybe even, we built businesses before. A lot of businesses are going to have to come back as a different flower. Life might be different after this.
We're right in the middle of all that right now with Anton J. I mean, we're getting flooded because people see the light at the end of the tunnel, right? And there was a lot of people that were like, wait and see. There were some people right off the bat that said, we need to get our companies ready. We need to be prepared for this. We know that this, whatever it is going to have another side. I don't know if that's 2 weeks. I don't know if that's 4 weeks. I don't know if that's two months. I don't know if it's 6 months. But we got to go through the process of doing the thinking so that we're going to be able to get back on track. You can't just wrap up 30 million small businesses in a country and say, we're done. There's fighters. That's the reason why that I have been telling and screaming at the top of my lung to the entrepreneurs the reason why the government, one of the greatest things that they ever did was to give bankruptcy protection and corporate veil protection between the individual and their company, because they know that if one of the three of us on this screen or any of the millions of business owners that are out there watching this, if we fail, we're too stupid to stay down. Right? we're too stupid to stay down. And so they're like, that's the engine that runs this country. It always has been. It always will be. And so there's people that are intelligent enough to know, okay, we're going to have to retool. We're going to have to restructure. What does it look like on the other side? And there's this, when you are clouded by fear, clarity is invisible to you, right? When you are clouded by fear, clarity is invisible to you. When clarity is invisible to you, execution is impossible, right? Strategy is impossible. And so part of what you're saying here is it's right in alignment with what we're doing at Anton J, which is helping prepare those. And what we did, rather than, a lot of these companies, I'm not going to fire anybody. Like, I know how to prepare my businesses. I got money to be able to pay my staff for a long time. And at the end of the day, what we've done is we've actually geared up to add and train new business strategists because we know that they're going to be needed, right? And we've been doing that this entire time while everybody's freaking out. We've been training them. We spun up a brand new, supplement line. We've been doing all kinds of stuff, staying busy because fear clouds clarity. I'm crystal clear.
I think that to add to your point about utilizing this time in a very smart way, it reminds me of the General Mattis, that quote where he says the most important 6 inches on a battlefield is between your ears. And that's your point. So if you're on a battlefield and you can't keep your mind right, you're done. And this is the battle right now. And I am hopeful that entrepreneurs are looking at courses like the 12-week course or whatever business course they take or whatever opportunities arise. I hope
there are no other business courses.
You're right. No, but just from experience, I can honestly say there is nothing like the 12-week course, but that changed my life. But, for the people who feel like they're floundering, you can utilize some of your energy capacity and your mental capacity to seek out funds to help you survive. But you could also be utilizing this time to take a course like that in case you do have to pivot your whole business model. And you'll better be able to do that if you take a course like the 12-week course during this time. You're maximizing all of your skill sets in order to survive whatever way that looks like. Because as Sherry and I were talking about today, restaurants, big companies, like companies we believe are untouchable before this, are pivoting their business model entirely, from restaurant to grocery store. I mean, all within a month?
Well, we went to a restaurant when I was in South Carolina. What did they have there?
I can't remember.
Toilet paper.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes, they were selling toilet paper.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. A lot of these businesses right now are having to um, grow new flowers, like repurpose. Um, do the same thing that Emily and I did basically was what are our tools? What can we leverage and pivot at this really unprecedented time? Similarly, so there's a restaurant in my neighborhood. And by the way, I mean the streets of Brooklyn and New York, they're pretty bleak. I mean, they're completely shuttered. You've seen there's nothing like it. From a photographer's perspective, it's extraordinary, really. But there are certain stores that have to stay open. And one is a restaurant where you go, you get coffee, you can get a salad and whatnot. But they've pivoted. So they've got commercial kitchen. They've got a facility that is basically authorized, it's compliant, where they can actually carry food and sell it. They pivoted to selling groceries because people need groceries right now in my neighborhood. They can't sit down and have a meal that's served to you by workers behind, the kitchen. So this is the time, and in a way, if you can stay healthy physically, which is job one, everybody stay healthy physically, everybody stay safe, keep your people safe, and then if you could just keep your brain from exploding. I'm thinking about this emoji that's part of the series, and it's like it's like the one where your brain is exploding out of your head. You can just keep your brain from exploding. Limit, frankly, the amount of news that you're listening to, and seek out seek out people that can help you navigate this storm.
And are
And not
not
only,
utilizing fear to use you and to control you and to sell you fear-based messages. So, I know a buddy of mine that he called me up and he goes, Jason, and he was selling cars. And what he did was he noticed that everybody needed those plastic shields, right?
yes,
And now in between the cashiers and stuff. And he is banking right now. And he just like, Jason, I don't know what to do. I need to scale up. He's one of our clients now, right? So everybody dialed in to listen to you guys talk a little bit about the stimulus bill, and that is what you can do right now, right? You can do this right now, and the reason why Emily and Sherry exist and their 19 other employees exist right now is to do the work for you while you're keeping your family, your business, your employees, while you're doing all that kind of stuff. These guys, I love what you said in the beginning. You guys are the front line responders for businesses, because the front line is, how do I pay my bills, right? How do I ramp back up? How do I make it through this? And you all have gone through, I don't know how many lines there is in 880 pages, but that's a lot to go through, right? So what's the process for them to get a hold of you? And then what do you do for them?
Mm-hmm. So first of all, shout out to January Riggin, who's on here, because she is also part of Team Tetra, and she's a badass.
He is
She's
a badass.
hey, January.
Yeah, she had a rock star day today too. She was killing it. So first, how do they get in contact with us? I think the best way, the easiest way is to email us, info@tetragrowthsystems.com, and we can put it in the comments at some point.
We'll post that. So I call you, and now what happens? How does the conversation go?
Yeah, we get to know you. What's your story? First of all, we ask probably, how you're doing. I think that's usually how all our calls start. Are you okay? How are you feeling in all of this? And let's have a conversation, because if this is all about them, this isn't about us. We're using our skill sets because we are better able to help people in this capacity. So, we want to understand what they're going through and what their company looks like, what shapes is it in, what fears do they have, what are they trying to make sure they're hanging on to, employees, rent, their facility, all of those things. And then we talk about that, and we talk about then opportunities that could come out for them through the CARES Act. And there's a lot. There's a lot of buckets in the CARES. If I could just visualize it, it's 880 pages or give or take. But within those pages, there's buckets. of funds that have been placed specifically for different types of groups, businesses, struggles, and different people qualify for different things. So we get to know the company first, and then when we sign people on as clients, we take them through an intake, and we learn more about truly who their company is, and a lot of qualifiers, because the qualifiers are what better enables us to find. I mean, we're, like Sherry said, we're investigators. We're digging into the regs, because everyone knows about the $1,500 that goes to your bank account. Right. Everyone knows about the payroll protection. But did you know there's at least a handful of other major things that you could potentially qualify for? And, there's other resources, sure, that you could go to, but they're pigeonholed into one thing. They are, they're going to take you in, they're going to feed the information in, and then you're going to get something out. And you may have missed out on 90% of the other modes of finance.
I want everybody to hear that, because if all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Okay. Yes. And Wells Fargo is going to tell you what is most advantageous to them. We know that based on their business model over the years. Right. And so what you guys are doing, and your team, I mean, you have an all-female, your entire team is female, badass females. And one of the things that I love about that, because of the work that y'all do on the other side, application writing, and the detailed work that you do, is that you guys are looking through this 880 pages to say, okay, Jason called us up. Jason, what's your situation? How many companies do you have? How many employees do you have? Da, 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 da. And your goal is to find every single dollar that is out there that is available to these people. And people don't realize, they're like, oh, I already applied for that. And I'm going, dude, there's 6 or 7 other opportunities for you to get cash.
Right. And it's changing so fast. The payroll protection program changed today. It changed already. It changed multiple times, including today. So, and then people,
and there's going to be more stimulus coming.
Right. And a lot of people, may go to their banks, but their banks are still using the small business criteria that they've used in the past, because
which means a lot of people will get denied.
Right. And whereas the SBA is a lot, like Sherry said, it's at small businesses now qualified as up to 500 employees, 500 less employees, which is very different. But there's qualifiers that banks have, because they still want to make sure they're taken care of and secure. And then qualifiers that we've found in the CARES Act that are much different and much, much better, I believe, for small businesses. Sherry, I don't know if you want to add to that.
Absolutely. Truly well put. What comes to mind when you were both talking was, we take a consultative approach, because that's the nature of our backgrounds, both as recovering lawyers. We're both recovering lawyers. And back in the day, the official title for attorneys was attorneys and counselors at law. And we took that second part quite seriously, and it speaks to the kind of people that we are. We take a consultative approach because we want to advocate for what's in the best interest of these clients right now under these really, really difficult, overwhelming circumstances. So it's not just, hey, the bank, there's a program, here's the link, click on it, fill out the application, and sit around and wait. It is.
That's what I wanted people to hear, because that's what I'm hearing from all the people that are calling me, hey, Jason, what do I do? They're like, oh, I already did that. And I'm like, no. Now, you have to dig into this thing, and you guys have options. You're like, look, we'll set you up and say, here's all the stuff you can do, right? And they can go do it themselves, or you guys will do the work. You have 19 highly competent, highly qualified women that are there ready to do all the work and make sure all the applications are done and make sure that all the compliance is embedded in it, so that, because again, a person like me, and I'm going to use me as an example, because if I was to do this, I would get frustrated by line 12. You know what I mean? I would be like, screw this. I can go make $100,000 faster than I can try to get this damn thing filled out.
Mary and I are like, oh, agents not capitalized. What is that? That's juicy.
Right. Where's the glossary?
Agent with the capital A, agent with the lowercase a means two completely different things in a definition, like an SBA, CARES Act.
See, this is what.
Yeah.
Okay, so
it's like a mystery, right? But it kind of like a mystery. And Sherry,
it's a puzzle.
You made a great point about being counselors. That's the part of law I love, because we can help counsel in ways that other groups can't or don't or may not consider. And in particular to the CARES Act, it I think means a lot to Sherry and I to not only help people find resources through this, but also, do you know you're required to do certain things when you get that money? You know, if you get money under the payroll protection program, you have to allocate at least 75% of that to paying your employees, your payroll. And if you don't, and if you're lying on forms, these are federal forms. Federal forms, if you lie on, anyone who's bought a gun knows this. If you lie on a federal form, you could go to jail, you go to prison, and you're committing perjury.
And I want I want people to hear that part, because what always happens is, hey, here's some free money, right? And then the next thing that happens is Sherry knocks on your door, right? And goes, by the way, you broke about 17 different laws, and now you're going to go spend some time in jail, right? Or you're going to have to pay.
Pizza.
Yeah, exactly.
You're getting money. The government wants to make sure you're utilizing the money you got in the way they're asking you to do it. So you can almost guarantee someone might be checking your books at some point, or asking you questions, or following up with you.
What happens when you drop your drawers for the government? Now they own the ability to be able to follow up and find that out.
Right. And there will be documents, specific documents that will be requested that you best, we can walk you through that. We'll walk the clients through that, what they need to be prepared to demonstrate that supports every statement, every box that they check on all of the forms that they're going to be filling out. And one more thing too is, there's a lot of, there's so much in the bill. We're not going to be experts in every single line item. And what's so great about the relationships that Emily and I have fostered over the years with other people who are experts, if we need them, they are part of our bench and we can access them. So it's sort of full service here. It's not just for a couple of things. It's for a wide array of opportunities to get your business back in traction. I'll say traction. Because if you don't have traction, you're slip sliding around on the black ice. Nothing's good going to come from that. And once you've got some traction, and you got some clarity, then you have some momentum, and then you can get your employees back going. You can put your lights back on, and in Brooklyn, you can roll that metal screen back up, and then stick around, because there's going to be more recovery that's coming.
And if I can just use this opportunity to brag on my team a little bit, because they never get the spotlight, but they're badasses in themselves. Like you said, it just happened by chance that they're all women. It's not like I was trying to select only women, not men. I select who's most qualified. And I was trying to get some guys on the team, and they never panned out.
You can come.
You're welcome if after an interview and a background check. No, just kidding.
Yeah, I'm your worst employee, because I don't like showing up anywhere at specific times, and I am not a detail person. So,
but
you don't like sleeves. You don't like sleeves.
I don't like sleeves, and then nobody coming in wanting to get this intricate work done is going to look at me and go, he looks like a detail-oriented person.
You're an enforcer. No, yeah. But the women on this team allegedly, they not only have some of them have legal backgrounds. January runs her own nonprofit, which is amazing. We've got women who also own other nonprofits who have helped nonprofit owners scale their businesses, grant writers. We've written ordinances, grants, federal work, obviously big pharma that Sherry had mentioned earlier, and even procurement with the federal government for nuclear propulsions for aircraft carriers and nuclear submarines. And that individual actually, she's a badass in of herself. So, and that's the makeup of our team. They love regulations. They don't love regulations. They've got their own special skill sets. And I'm really proud of this team of women. And most importantly, every single one of them has an amazing attitude. They all operate under the premise of how can I add massive value right now to everyone I'm working with and to the client. and that they will always, and I can say with absolute confidence, they go over and above every single time for me, for their colleagues, and for clients. It's just,
I love it. I love it. So here's what I would tell everybody. Okay. Here's what the reason why I wanted you on the show is because now I can stop answering these questions. I can just say, and I'm doing it actually all over the internet right now. I'm just like, get a hold of Emily, get a hold of Emily. Cause once they can figure out how to put the stability of their finances and the clarity of their finances in place, now they can take that next step and say, all right, what do I have to do when they do open the doors, right? What do I do? And it takes a lot of that pressure off, that immediate pressure to know with clarity what is happening with their finances. And then they can start to execute on what am I going to do right now to create revenue, pivot, do something else, whatever. What happens to my regular business when it opens back up, right? Then they can have conversations with Anton J and Joe and my team and how we're going to structure this as we move forward. I'm telling you all that, and I'm saying this, I've said it over a long time. And Sherry, you watched the long recovery out of 2008, 2009, right? You watched that. It was actually pretty impressive, but this one, the underlying economy was radically strong before this. And so when I say that there's going to be a V recovery, I've also gotten hammered online. Like, it's going to take forever. All you got to do is look at 2008, 2009 because math. And I'm like, math doesn't say that. It's not this
circumstances though. 2008 is different.
Completely different circumstances. Yeah. And so I don't know if it's going to be a V. I'm not 100% sure of that, but I'm pretty certain that it's going to be a rapid recovery because of so many things. I don't want to go in. That's another show. But the fact that they're handing money right now during the middle of the crisis, saying, take care of your people, keep them on payroll, right? That is unprecedented. That is the smartest, fastest, of all of the things that I look at our government of how they've mishandled this situation, that this is one of the things that makes me most proud of this country is that we are actually handing money to the people that need it. Right? And that can use it and that will spend it and that are going to the grocery store and need to go to the grocery store and need to take care of their family. And so I believe there's going to be a V-shaped. It may be a longer recovery, but at the end of the day, if it jumped up to 30, and this is what I say to everybody, if it jumped up to 30% unemployment, that is a disaster, right? That is a disaster for 30% of our country to just whoop, you're on the unemployment lines. My suggestion is you be part of the 70%. That's my message. And so if you have to learn a new skill set, if you have to do something different, if you have to take your business and pivot it, like me, I got an immunity booster now that I never would have done that. I never would have done it. There's several things that I would never be training, a 10 brand new strategist in Anton J, because I never really wanted the company to get that big. And that's a lot of work for us to get those going, but we've got 10. We've got 10 coming on, right? And if you want to be one of them, you can reach out to me later. We still have a couple of those spots open. But at the end of the day, what I want people to do, focus in with no fear on finding all of the money that is owed to you right now as a business owner. Focus there with these women and their company or whatever you want to do on your own. But get a hold of them, at least have the conversation and get your head wrapped around the idea that you are owed money. If you're a business owner in this country, you have money available to you.
And it goes back to something you've taught often, and Sherry and I actually talked about it last night. You bring you into your business. So the deep-seated fears you had about yourself, your capabilities, your inabilities, they're all coming to the surface because it's a crisis. And so it's forcing you to look in a mirror and say, am I able to do this? What do I actually feel about my strengths? Can I do, it's forcing people to actually step up to the plate. And I would challenge anybody to wake up tomorrow and force yourself for one day, pretend that those fears don't exist and you're a monster. and you will crush your business, and you are going to own this. You're going to be part of the 70% that not only, like Sherry said, you're not only going to survive, you're going to thrive, whatever it takes. If you have to pivot. If you need to get money, do whatever it takes to thrive when you come out of this. Be a winner. And
2008, 2009, what companies started, right? What companies started? Uber.
Yep.
Just a small little company. Airbnb.
Airbnb.
There's so many companies that started up in that period of time because they pivoted, right? They're like, people may not want to have cars all the time. Maybe they'll just and they're sick of taxis. People, I've got this extra use of my house. Like, how could I use that? Like, if people would operate in, I get so worked up. I get so worked up because of people out there that are trying to scare the shit out of everybody. Like, again, the videos of what's happening, like, we know what happens, but at the end of the day, if you're not sick, right, why would you dive into a video about how it kills you? Like, again, you could spend 1,000 ways. There's a show out there called 1,000 Ways to Die, which is,
it goes back to how are we operating when things are good? Because if you're doing that right now, you've probably done that on a smaller scale when things
how
are
you
good.
do anything is how you do everything, right?
It's all this is a megaphone for the things you haven't corrected in your course in the past. Use it as an opportunity to correct it, because then you're going to come out, you'll survive, and when things are back to normal, you will thrive. If not, you'll thrive now, and you can win. You just make yourself have no choice. Win.
Got it. And so how they're going to win is in the beginning right now. Get with these ladies or get with yourself or whatever the way you're going to approach it. But I wanted to get in here and talk about the division, the stem build division of Tetra Growth Systems. I have worked with them. I know every single one of them on the team. They are the most highly qualified, the most fair, the most detail oriented to a fault human beings that you're going to find. And if you're stressed out about all of your other stuff, outsource. I'm telling you, outsourcing has always been the key to you being able to not just have a job that everybody says, I'm a business owner. Really, you just have a job, that owns you, and you're the last one to get paid. And sometimes you don't get paid. But at the end of the day, one of the greatest things that you can learn as a business owner is to outsource those things that you're not competent at while you're doing the things that you are most competent at, right? And that's what we talk a lot about. I could go into a whole bunch of other stuff, but outsource this to people like this, okay? Not people that are trying to scare you, not people that are trying to get views and likes and hits and clicks and all this other kind of crap. Get your ass to work and call these women and get on their schedule, because it's filling up fast. I mean, I know just from me going, call Emily and Sherry, like I know you guys' books are going to be filling up quickly. So email is the best, right? And then you guys will start communicating with people as they email you, and you can start helping them get the money that they're owed and the money that they don't even know about. And they're going to get the most money that they could possibly get because you guys are going line by line, right?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. I love it. Any parting shots, Sherry?
Support small business. Take care of yourselves. Support small business.
Love that.
Let go of fear and shame. There's a lot of things that I am not good at. I have to let that go. It's not about shame. I can't know everything. So I'm going to let those things go. So let go of the fear and the shame, rise up, reach out to the people that can help you in the respective areas that are, the respective holes that need to be plugged in your life, and support small business.
I love it. And it's interesting to me when you said those two words together, that all of the people that have been driving the fearmonger boat have tried to shame me to shut my mouth. It's interesting. Emily, what's your parting shots?
Honestly, I can't beat what Sherry said. I think she mic dropped it. So I'm going to say ditto Sherry.
And I think I noticed that you might be drinking a little bit of my scotch.
No, this is my, it is scotch. I'm sorry. Yes, it is. Wow, that's very good scotch.
That's my bottle.
It is now mine.
Yeah. And I was over here drinking healthy blueberry tonic, whatever.
Whatever.
I'll see you Monday. So, all right, ladies, thank you so much for taking
Thank
some of your time. I know you guys have been hammering busy. I appreciate you taking a little bit of time to come on the show. I appreciate the work that you're doing. I love the fact that you guys are viewing the work that you're doing as being the first responders for businesses, because they are in the emergency room right now, right? They are on critical care. They're the ones that are going to rebuild this after our healthcare community saves this country. We're going to be the ones that rebuild it. And I want them to be supported. I want you to go get your money, get every penny that you have coming to you so that you can thrive, so that you get that stress off your shoulders. And then remember, my parting shot is strategy, clarity, focus, and bravery in the side of this is going to put you 50 steps ahead of any competition that you may have had that sat around watching MSNBC and Fox News and figuring out every person that could tell them how they were going to die and how painful it was going to be. And at the end of the day, our hearts go out to those people that have lost their lives to this. Our hearts go out to the first responders who are working 4 and 5 shifts every single day. Those people that are making masks, that are getting masks, that have gotten to us a place where things are starting to get better. Less people are citing into the hospital. Less people are dying. Less people this is America, right? This country has overcome unbelievable odds. And it's not by people that said, can you imagine Martin Luther King standing up and going, instead of what can I, or John, my brain is going, I've got all of these leaders in my head that
JFK and Roosevelt.
Yeah. JFK, right? Standing up, not what can I do? And thinking of these bullshit leaders that are out there going, Martin Luther King going, you know what? You need to be afraid and you need to be scared and you need to, stay home and you need to do all this, stay home. That's the good advice right now. But at the end of the day, I cannot imagine anybody that has made a mark on history acting like these fear mongers, and it's pissed me off. Okay. Because what entrepreneurs need to hear is get ready, steel your spine, because you're going to be the ones that are going to save this country after our health workers have saved us from this virus. Okay. That's all I got to say about that. I love y'all. And thank you. Go ahead.
I want to shout out not only to the first responders in the hospitals, but the ones that seem to not get recognition in this when they're still working. And it's firefighters, EMTs, and police officers who are going into homes, and they are, just from experience of relatives who are firefighters and officers, they are going into homes and getting this, they're coming down with the COVID, and they're, and they're doing their jobs every day, because this is the type of crises they handle crises every single day.
How about the truckers? How about that person getting paid $10-12 an hour to sell us our groceries?
To stock the shelves.
These people, the Uber drivers, the Uber Eats drivers, thank God for you.
Thank God. Honestly, all the people who are showing up every single, I know you wanted to end this, but I'm feeling it. But all of these people every day who are literally showing up for their jobs, some of them sure are complaining, but many of them are silent because they're working. And that's the backbone of America. That's
the backbone of America. Right. Shut the hell up and get to work. Right?
Rise up.
That's it.
Rise up. This is our moment. One life. Let's do it. Rise up.
Life. All right, everybody, thank you so much for coming to another episode of the Bald Avenger Show. Please share this out. If you know somebody that's a small business owner, share away, because these ladies are loaded with information. They've got a ton of value to add to you in this period of time. It gives you something to focus on that is your first foot on solid ground, because the CDC opened up a little bit of our country today, okay? Today, on the 8th, between the 7th and the 10th, which is what I predicted. And it's going to just get more and more and more. And this is going to be a memory. I want you to be able to look yourself in the mirror and be proud of what you did and how you stepped up, and not how you stepped forward, because I can promise you I'm going to be going after a lot of these fear mongers after this is done, because they did a lot of damage to us, and they did a lot of damage to this country, and did not help us at all. So I love you all very much. We will see you again tomorrow night, same time. And who knows what the hell we're going to be talking about, because things are always changing. The one thing that never changes here is our commitment to serve you. Peace.
Thank you.